He is actually playing Klinklang. This is close to Dylan Bryan's list that he top 8'd with, I believe. Uh, and like any Klinklang is close like that. Uh, I just can't believe I clicked the wrong deck. Klinklang is really good against a lot of the matchups, but it's really, really bad against Flareon. It does have Aegislash, and Aegislash helps because Flareon doesn't play that many basics, but the thing with Mike's list, he plays 5 basic energy. It's really helpful against Aegislash. And yeah, like, he doesn't know, they don't know what each other's playing, so it's gonna be kind of weird when it shows up. Alright, I think they finally got everything set up. Let's go back. This is the bracket, by the way. Whoops. Wrong bracket image. I'll get the bracket set up for you soon. Told you, this is live. This is definitely mistakes being made. I don't think this is... Alright. I think Canavis gave me the wrong deck list too. Alright. Well, we'll roll with it. Yeah, alright. So we got Flareon versus Klinklang. Flareon, Fire Pokemon, Klinklang, Metal. Doesn't really work out that well. This matchup is going to be very hard for Kyle to overcome. So we do see Canavis is going first, and he's playing Bronzong in his deck. Alright, so he plays a 2-2 Bronzong and plays 3 Metal and 2 Grass. So the 3 Metal with the Bronzong, you're able to charge up Flareons late in the game even without DCEs. It makes this deck a lot more resilient to Enhanced Hammer, Zero Sick, Team Flare Grunt and stuff like that. It's really neat and really cool. He also plays Life Dew as his ace spec. It's a way for the game to also go on a little bit longer to make it so your opponent doesn't get free easy knockouts. And he does play the 2 Grass to use the Energy Evolution Eevee to get Leafeon. And it also works with Virizion, so he kind of plays a little bit of everything in this deck. He also plays Deoxys, and Deoxys helps with his damage output. Deoxys with Leafeon is also really good against Toad. And he plays 1 Aegislash too. Kind of a cleanup attacker if he wants it. It's really good against Raichu Bats and stuff like that. Anything kind of like this deck that plays very few basic energy, but you wouldn't want to bench it against another Flareon deck. And then on the opposite side, we see Kyle's hand. All he really has is Energy, Floatstone, N. Can't really do much else. Meanwhile, I think Mike had a really good turn 1. He got an Energy on an Eevee. He didn't want an Energy Evolution into the Leafeon just because you want Flareon in this matchup, but he'd also rather have the basic energy. So it's really good for him not to Energy Evolution. So he got 2 EVs, the Deoxys down, and he has a Sycamore for next turn, but it gets end away. His next hand, still good, he still has a supporter, but he's going to have to discard 2 energies no matter what if he decides to Juniper, and that's going to be pretty bad. You also see with Flareon, the battle compressors for the deck are really important, but without Trump Card in the format, you can't just Battle Compressor every time you have it, discard the Pokemon so you can get big damage, and then later on shuffle it all back with Trump Card. Without it, you really need to think what you're going to need for later on in the game, and what you will never need. So he decided to discard the Virizion because you won't need that against Klinklang and Empoleon and Egg and stuff like that. Like, there's cards you want to discard, but then after that it gets really hard to decide. Meanwhile, so we see an Aegislash, 2 Bronzors. Aegislash is basically the main attacker in this Klinklang deck. Klinklang is really trying to play the advantage of the metagame to where there's just EX Pokemon. Does really have a hard time against Raichu-based decks and Flareon-based decks just because they don't attack with EXs. And we see him retreat, so Cannabis is going to be forced to attach the metal to the benched Eevee most likely. And then Sycamore is hand away unless he doesn't have a supporter in the discard. So if he wants to do anything this turn, he will have to Sycamore away, or Juniper away at least 2 energy. Alright. I think he's really debating, like, because he could attach the active. He does. And he just signs Evolution? Alright. So, this means... So, he did this because he's not at risk of getting knocked out next turn. That's the one thing about this Kling deck, is it takes a long time to get set up. Its main goal is to stall until you get a Kling set up. And then from there on, against most decks, that's all you need to win. Of course, against Flareon, you need a lot more to win like that. But Mike knows this. Like, he tested Kling a lot, and he tested Flareon a lot before Nationals. And he knows the matchup really well. So he's basically saving an extra energy attachment by not Junipering that turn. And he's getting a Flareon for next turn no matter what. So he's going to be able to retreat the Eevee into the benched other Eevee, attach an energy, and actually do damage with that Flareon if he wants to. Meanwhile, we got a Clang on Kyle's side of the field. One more to Kling. It's pretty good. We do see his Kling in hand. He's an N, DCE. I'm really curious if he does decide to end this turn. I don't see why not. But, alright. He's content with just getting Kling out, Shaman for a bunch next turn, and maybe he's looking for something else. Now, what did... Alright, so he Energy Evolution, didn't have... He was just looking for his deck. There's no Metal Eevee Lucian. So he does evolve that one with the 2 basic energies into Flareon. And he does retreat, so he's going to be able to do damage to this Aegislash. He also drew a Battle Compressor, so this might even be a knockout, depending on how much Pokemon are in his discard. You also see that Mike does play Turtorga, or whatever, how you pronounce it. Its ability allows it to put it to the bottom of your deck. Or shuffle it back in your deck, one of the two. It goes back in your deck. So, in combination with Empoleon, you can never deck out. It's what this deck kind of is lacking once Trump Card was banned, is a way to reshuffle everything, because you deck out a lot in this deck. So it's a pretty neat card. He also plays a Bunnelby to help with that too. Alright, so... Man, he's just going off this turn. I'm almost positive this Aegislash is getting knocked out. That is a lot of damage. Okay, so Mike takes first blood. And it's not looking good for Kyle at all. I can see his face right now, and it's not looking good at all. Oh my gosh. He has no energy in play. He just got a Kling, but that doesn't really matter against a Flareon. The Aegislash on his bench isn't protecting anything, because the Flareon does have 2 basics attached. And his other outs are like Cobalion? Yeah, he has Cobalion in hand, but it doesn't really do much. Like, sometimes it's good because you could discard their DCE, but no. Alright, he got 1 Bronzong, and he needed 2 to be able to attack with Aegislash to knock out the Flareon, and he whiffed it. And that was an end to 6. He did end Mike down to 4, but Mike doesn't really need anything else. He got the Life Dew, which is really funny. And he's going to be able to knock out this Kling, and he'll have 3 prizes left. And the Aegislash will knock out the Flareon if Kyle gets another medal, but he doesn't have it in his hand right now. I guess that is the one saving grace for Kyle, is that there's 2 basic energy on the Flareon, and there's 2 DCE in the discard, and there's not really much option for Mike to counterattack, basically, if this Flareon gets knocked out. So Kyle does Chorus for a lot of cards. He gets the Metal, and I think he's going to be attaching to Aegislash. He might be, yeah. So Aegislash does 40 plus 20 for each metal attached to it, so it's going to do 100 and knock out the Flareon. And then Mike is going to need like a Lysander next turn and a DCE to be able to knock out something. Otherwise, he's just going to bring up something as fodder. He does have that Bronzor in play, which gives him 1 out. So if he actually draws a Metal Energy, he can actually Ultra Ball for the Bronzong, Metal Energy, or Basic Energy attached to the Flareon, Metal Ink, get another energy, and he'll have the 2 Basic Energy needed to knock out Aegislash. So let's see what he does. I'm almost positive he's going to get Bronzong here. Seems like a really good play. Maybe the... Oh, he got another Flareon. Alright. Draws the Bronzong anyway. Has a handful of energy. It's what you kind of need. He brought up this Deoxys kind of as a sacrifice. He will be able to retreat it next turn if he desires to. But the thing with Flareon, you gotta count your resources basically every turn. Especially just... This is the deck that I think was hit the hardest with Trump Card. Trump Card was so good for Flareon, even though your damage base was off of Pokemon in your discard. Trump Card allowed you to refuel every time. Like, it allowed you to play like 7 energies, 6 energies, and that was it. So I'm interested to see what Mike's going to do. He's for sure going to Metal Links to the Flareon, and I think he might attach to Flame. It's really weird because he could spread out the attachments. Attach one to one Flareon, attach the other to the other Flareon. That way, if Kyle has the Lysander, which we see he does, he's not as hurt by taking 2 energy away from that Flareon. Alright. What is he deciding on? Let's see. Kyle's hand is pretty good, though. So his field is 2 Bronzong. He has the Heatran, which is a 1 prize attacker. I'm not sure if you really want to attack with it, just because it's going to be an easy knockout, and he already has 3 prizes, so there's no 7 prize game going on. We do see an Ultra Ball getting rid of the metal for a Shaman. I don't know how much I like that. You don't really need much this turn. Maybe he was going for the 1 Floatstone in the deck. But he does decide to split up the energy, and he did draw the last basic energy in his deck. So even if Kyle Lysanders up a Flareon, he's going to be able to retaliate with the second Flareon. But we see Kyle, he's counting resources. He knows there's 2 basic energy in the discard. What are the odds he plays 9? But he does. So the 9th comes down. Second Aegislash is getting knocked out, and that's all the Aegislash Kyle plays. 1 prize left, and I think that's GG. This definitely is not looking good for Kyle. So he's going to Metal Links to the Heatran. He's going to bring up the Heatran. He's going to N. He has to N. If he doesn't N, it's game over automatically. I think he's just trying to thin out his hand, get everything that he possibly can. Keldeo's pretty good. Allows him to switch up attackers. He could also charge it up, and it's an easy knockout against uh, Flareon. But he decided, like, okay, he gets nothing. He does get the end, though. He'll end Mike down to 1. And knock out this Flareon. So Mike drew an Ultra Ball off the end. It's not what you want to see. I'm pretty sure there's Egg in the discard, though. But he did overextend last turn to try to get that Float Stone, or the turn before, to where he played the second Shaman. If he had this Shaman in his deck, it'd be really, really good right now. But he's just going to have to pass. Can Kyle come back? Alright, he's going to need to draw another Versus Seeker or the Lysander to take care of the last Flareon. If he can knock out that last Flareon, he's going to most likely win. So he gets the Jirachi, gets the Lysander, knocks out. Oh my god. I didn't know there was that many energy on the Heatran. He's just been charging that thing up with Bronzong all day. Okay, so yeah, Mike concedes. Oh my gosh. Klinklang beat Flareon. Can you believe that? Oh my god. Yeah, I was not expecting that. I think Mike just wasted too many resources early on to try to kill those 2 Aegislash, and Heatran ended up bringing it back. Alright, we're going to quickly go back to the list. So this is Mike's Flareon list for everyone that's been wondering. So it has a lot of stuff in it. The Audinos aren't really helpful in this matchup. The Kecleons are, because you can actually use all the metal attacks because you play metal. And the Leafeons are really useless. It's all about Flareon and Bronzong. Those are the 2 things to watch out for. Okay, so here we go. Back to the game. Mike is going first. And let's see what he can pull through. He did get a pretty good start last turn, or last game. So I'm not sure how much he can improve on it. His hand does seem pretty good right now. He's able to Ultra Ball away Virizion and like maybe an Energy. Gets rid of some useless cards in his hand. He'll be able to get an Eevee, attach a Double Colorless to it, Shaman, and draw 4 cards. It's not bad. But this hand's not what you want to see. The 2 Flareon mean you can't really Jirachi for a Juniper because you don't want to discard the 2 Flareon. It's your main attacker in this matchup, especially when your opponent's playing metal. So the Battle Compressor, it's most likely just going to pitch useless cards. There is already a metal in there, so I don't think he's going to pitch another metal. But you're going to probably see Tortuga, Execute. If there is an Execute. I don't think there is an Execute. Yeah, Execute. And yeah, maybe a Leafeon. There's not really much you want to pitch other than those. Like, you of course want to pitch Pokemon, but there's a lot of Pokemon that you need. I guess, yeah, I did say Audinos are useless in the matchup, so those can go. Okay. He does play the 1N. Alright. So, Jirachi for an N. He wasn't able to discard all the Pokemon that he wanted, but he did get rid of those Flareons that he didn't want to discard. He got another Battle Compressor. It's getting rid of Leafeon and most likely another Audino. So there's a good number of Pokemon in the discard right now. His hand's alright too. He has Flareon, he has the basic energy, which is good, but he doesn't have another Eevee in play. Now, one thing about Klinklang, doesn't attack on turn 1, really. So, I think that Eevee's gonna be safe. Okay. So let's see what Kyle's gonna do. So he has the double Heatran start and a Bronzor. You don't really want to go for Klinklang in this match. It's kind of useless, so anytime you can discard him, you usually do. But he does get an N. And he has a Float Stone, Energy. It's pretty good. Okay. So we do see the N. We get the second Bronzor down. That's big. Being able to cycle through these Heatrans to one-hit Flareons is really good for Kyle. We do see an Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball could get Aegislash, discarding the Metal and a Klinklang, because Metals you can just get back. And yeah, it's a pretty good option. Alright, so yeah, he did get an Aegislash and he passed. Now let's see if Mike can actually pull together and attack this turn. Judging from his field, I don't think he can. It's going to be tough, but yeah, his Juniper, or his getting N into that hand wasn't really good. I just see a bunch of Pokemon and a Lysander with the Battle Compressor. So he's going to Compressor away cards he doesn't need. Play some Pokemon down if he can. I don't think he can, so he's going to Shaman. It really sucked getting that Floatstone end away, too. He really needed that to attach to the Aegislash so he could retreat. I don't even know if he's going to play the Shaman down. He might just... yeah, I don't think he can, because that means he'd only have the one Flareon in play. It'd be impossible for him to set up multiple Flareons. So we do see a Lysander. I don't know if he's gonna go for the Shaman to try to draw a Floatstone and knock out the Bronzor, or just pass. I think he's just gonna pass. No, he benched the Shaman. Draw 3. I mean, you get pretty good cards. But he's going to be playing the entire game with one Flareon. It's going to be hard because Kyle can bring up the Flareon, knock it out. And then next turn, Mike is going to bench an Eevee and say go, basically. He's not really going to be able to bench multiple EVs, set up multiple Flareons to where if one does get knocked out, he can bring up the other one. Alright. So he does have Versus Seeker. He already played his supporter for the turn, so he could just get N or Lysander and pass. Most likely we're going to see an N. It's actually really surprising he doesn't have a Juniper in as this card. Just hasn't seen one. He could have put one in with the Battle Compressor. Maybe that was something he probably should have thought about. But yeah. This Aegislash being active is not going to do much. It's just giving Kyle more time. Yeah, that was a pretty uneventful turn for Mike. Meanwhile, Kyle chorused for 10. Now, 10 used to be the biggest number until Skyfield. Now it just seems mediocre to me. Anytime he's chorused for 10, you're like, yeah, pretty good. but I could have 16. Yeah. Alright, so it's still really good. 10 cards, 10 brand new cards. The 10 cards, though, that Kyle got are terrible. He got a 2/2/1 Klinking line, the 1 rare candy, a Skyfield, an AZ, a Teammates. He drew absolute nothing off of that Colress. He really needed energy there. Bronzong. Uh, this game has been draw pass. Alright, so we see the Floatstone, Bronzong, everything that Michael wanted this turn. He does get a knockout also. He doesn't have a supporter for next turn, which is tough. He also... I don't know. We see a repeat ball, get a Bronzor. We're going to probably see Michael in the next few turns actually Sky Return with the Shaman, just so we can have more bench to play EVs. It's not really what you want to see, but it's what's going to probably happen. We also see